Live from Detroit, it's the Lowdown on Motown Sports podcast with your hosts, Dane Williams, Junko Bodie, and Bob Daniele. If you're looking for the best present to take to your mother-in-law's birthday party, you're in the wrong place, dude. We talk Michigan sports here. It's real, it's raw, and there are no punches pulled. What happens when you put a gambler, a rocket scientist, and a radio jock in the same room? Well, we're all about to find out, and it probably won't be pretty. But whatever happens, it will be lively. So grab a brew, sit yourself in your favorite rocker, and take notes if you're some kind of nutcase. The boys are back in town and talking about the stuff that matters, Motown Sports. So let's get to it, people. Here's the host of today's show, Rockin' Robert Daniele.
Well, hello. What up, friends? Thanks for stopping by, and I don't need to tell you. It's that time, right? Michigan fans, it's a special week. You got to scratch out the O's, burn your red clothing, pull out your trolling best to those Buckeye fans that you may know on social media. It is time for the game this week. Welcome to the Lowdown on Motown Sports podcast, the Michigan football edition. I am your host, Bob Daniele. I'm here with my homeboys, Blue Dane Williams and Junko Bodie. Boys, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy game week, Robert. Happy game week. Yes.
Well, you know what? After that USC game, which seems a long time ago, but after that debacle, we were wondering whether Michigan could run the table to bring us to the showdown for this week. Would this game mean anything? But here we are, playing Ohio State one more time for all the regular season marbles, trips to championship games, entrance to the CFP, and another 365 days of rent-free living in the Ohio State brain, as small as it is. But it can all happen this week. Before we get into all that, let's put the final touches on a solid victory, 45-20 thumping of Maryland on their home field. Guys, need your overall thoughts on the Maryland win as expected, right, Dane?
That's exactly right. Yeah, so it was a good win. It was a good win. No, the mistakes were minimized. I would say that it was almost a mistake on that errant pass by Bryce. That probably should have been a pick six, but luckily the defender dropped the ball, which he normally doesn't do because Maryland's really good at those turnovers, especially interceptions. But after that, though, he settled down. I mean, I think Bryce played a great game. The offensive line is coming along. They played a very good game. And, we got our third string quarterback, running back, excuse me.
Fourth string at the beginning of the
I tell you
season.
what, fourth string, if you want to look at, So, he came in and ran 20 rushes for 100 yards. I mean, it was a solid performance overall. It's what we expected them to do. And we'll talk about it later when we get to talking about Ohio. It's interesting how this season's sort of mirroring last season. But go ahead.
No, I thought it was a great win. It kind of was reminiscent of last year's win over Northwestern when, Michigan wasn't playing very well going into the game before Ohio State, and they went out there and they absolutely had a terrific second half against Northwestern and ran up a big score against them. And I thought this week, again, we saw a great game by Michigan where we saw progress. I agree with Dane. I thought Bryce made one bad throw all day. Took a big step in this game, which is important when you're going into a game the magnitude of Ohio State this week. And I think the same is true of the receiving group. I saw the receiving group take a big jump again this week, and I know Maryland's not that good, but those guys made plays. It wasn't just Marsh, who was terrific, but it was it was Channing Goodwin and McCulley and right.
Goodwin was in
the
there.
tight
The tight ends
played
came
well,
in.
right?
Yeah.
And
I agree.
and Cudzall, here, like Dane said, a fourth-string running back at the beginning of the year, and and we got to see Capana play a little bit, and Jasper Parker got some more carries. I mean, it was exactly the kind of game you'd want to have before the Ohio State game. So, overall, a really good show by the offense, and I thought the defense was solid, if not unspectacular.
Maybe
Yeah,
we should talk about our our fifth string running back,
Oh yeah,
O'Mara.
what?
He came in with 8 rushes for 71 yards. I know it was,
wow.
things are winding down, but still, pretty good. I like the way
Yeah.
he runs too. It was really good. Yeah.
It's a lot to look forward to, and you want this kind of game going into this week. Andrew Marsh was excellent. Cusdahl pitched in. You guys mentioned that. Now, what do you see from these two that can complement each other and keep the offense going for this week? Go ahead, Junko.
The question was what the running backs or
What do you see? What do you see from Marsh and Cusdahl that can complement each other
well,
as
what I
we
like
go
about
into
it is
this
now
game?
Ohio State's got to account for both of them instead of one or the other, right? And so that's
Mhm.
it's
Right.
always a short week this week. They say that you start preparing for the Ohio State game when you take off your shoulder pads at the end of the previous week, right? And that's probably true. Marsh is coming on. I was worried after the last few performances that defenses were going to start to focus on him, but I think this week, 7 receivers caught passes for Michigan, right? Bryce had a 94.7 QBR in this game. You know, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Much better.
they threw for 1/3 of the plays. That's pretty freaking awesome, right? And they did so effectively.
Yeah.
One bad throw, as I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier. I don't know. I just think they just took a big step. I was very excited to see. We talk about complementary football in terms of offense and defense, but I think on offense too, you want to play complementary
Mhm.
football. You want to have a receiver that you can count on, and you want to have a running back that you can count on. I think we got both.
Hey, Dane, your thoughts on like the fact that Marsh and Cusdahl are both new. Ohio has not seen them before. Is that an advantage for us?
I think it is. They're going to watch a lot of tape, of course, as
Mhm.
we are, so they're going to understand that. But I do expect Jordan Marshall to be back. Um,
Oh yeah.
Everything points to Jordan Marshall being back. I think he'll start. I just hope he doesn't re-injure that shoulder. If he does, I think Cudzall can come in and continue that rushing game. So I think that's good. Andrew Marsh is interesting. Since October 1st, he has more receiving yards than any other receiver in the Big Ten. Pretty amazing. I mean, I know Ohio fans don't want to hear that, but it's true. And he's really come on. And it's interesting how him and McCulley are complementing each other. There was one pass play where, I was talking about earlier in our podcast, or previous podcast, where McCulley was kind of the sacrificial lamb. He was running out there, taking defenders away so that Marsh is open. Marsh is doing that for McCulley, especially on that one pass over the middle to McCulley. It wasn't the
Are you
touchdown
talking about
pass,
the
but the
slip
pass
screen?
route over the middle to McCulley. No, that one
Yeah.
was a touchdown. So yeah, he went all the way, which is great. But there was another one where Marsh was a sacrificial lamb, took the linebacker and the corner down, and McCulley was wide open. So they're starting to complement each other. I think is what we're talking about. Complementary football,
Yeah.
complementary on the receiving end. I think is great. So
And
um,
kudos to Chip Lindsey
here
there
we.
too, right, Dane, for showing that the week before
Oh
Ohio
yeah,
State.
he is calling. I tell you what, that guy is calling the right plays. We may not execute perfectly every time, but I think he's calling the correct plays for us to win. Definitely.
Well, the offensive line is pretty healthy right now, so they did their job against Maryland. What do you see from that unit that makes you optimistic about the Ohio State game, Junko?
Well, first and foremost, they move people in the run game, right? I mean, we run for 200 yards, what now, in 5 consecutive games or something? I mean, it's ridiculous how much yardage
Something
we're
like that.
picking
Yeah.
up on the ground. How many, Dane? Did 5? I think it was 5.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's at least
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
And this is the healthiest that offensive line has been all season. So, I feel really good about that going into the Ohio State game. If there's 2 things that you can say that you want to see Michigan do in the Ohio State game, it's, be healthy and run the football. And I think we got pretty much both there. And I got to tell you, I watched a bunch of Ohio State film this week, and it looks like that's a team that you'll be able to run the football on. I've seen every team that they play have some success at least
Yeah.
on the ground against them. Now I know
Yeah.
they claim to be better on defense. Remember how they always puff themselves up, and Ryan Day's probably bumping with the guys in the circle, really weirdly like he does sometimes. But I don't know that their idea of physicality and Michigan's idea of physicality is on the same level. Yeah, I know. What do you think about that, Dane?
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Day is going to fall into that trap again of playing our game. And
Oh
we'll talk
yeah.
about that later. But it's interesting with the offensive line. Yes, the run blocking's been really good. I mean, obviously over 200 yards. Like I think at least the last 5 games or 5 games total. But also, Bryce is the first quarterback, um, first year starter quarterback that's passed for greater than 200 yards in the last 7 games. You got to go back to 2004 to Chad Henne. Uh, that's when he tied Chad Henne for passing for more than 200 yards in the last 7 games, or at least 7 games. So I think, both of those stats together show that the offensive line has really progressed. And I tell you what, I think it's going to really show. They're semifinalists for the Joe Moore Award, right? But it's really going to show here with Ohio, because Ohio supposedly, I mean, they're giving up 9 points a game. So it's really going to show against Ohio how well this offensive line has really come along. But I tell you, since the beginning of the season, we're complaining about them. They have really come on, really come on.
Yeah. Well, we are pretty optimistic about the offense. The defense looked pretty good too. So Maryland did score first, and they had their brief shining moments. So Dane, give me your thoughts on our defense going into this game.
I don't understand the slow starts. It
I
doesn't
know,
matter
Uh-huh.
what
right?
team we're playing. If we defer, I'm going, well, they're going to score at least a field goal, if not a touchdown. And I can't, I used to get upset about that sort of stuff. Now it's just, okay, here they
Hmm.
go. But we
Yeah.
come back, which is good. I mean, they recover from that, but I don't understand why we can't stop, do 3 and out, or maybe,
Mm-hmm.
they get a first down, and then we do a 3 and out after that. I don't understand why we allow teams to go down and score.
Did you say
I
allow
just don't
them?
get it. It
Do
doesn't
we
matter who
allow
it
them?
is. Allow them. It's almost
Yeah.
like we allow them. We do. I mean, it's Maryland, Purdue. It doesn't matter.
We're,
Just go down.
we're
Hey,
spotting you
score,
7
and
points.
then we'll think about coming back. It's the craziest thing. And if we start with the slow start and Ohio goes down and scores coming up, and then later on, Sand could have. I'm just saying, he could have a great day. Um, if that pass, looking at that pass D, that's what worries me, I guess. The run D,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with. That pass D scares me, especially against Ohio. And they've been good.
Okay.
I mean, Zeke had that nice pass breakup. They need to do that every time against Ohio, right? They were excellent. They had 4 sacks. I think Malik, the whole season, was only sacked 3 times, and they had 4 sacks in one game. So that's encouraging. That's encouraging. Junko, what do you think going
Well,
forward?
I agree with you about the slow starts. I don't know if we allow them. I think every team scripts their best plays. They watch a team's defense
Yeah.
on film, and they say, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is going to
Yeah.
work, and this is going to work," and they go out and they run those plays, and then ultimately a defense adjusts, right? And that's, we think Michigan's made good
Yeah.
adjustments.
Yeah.
They go through that first series, they try to figure out what the other team wants to do against them, and then they make the adjustments, and then they play well. But I agree with you; it is frustrating to watch them give up some of the plays that they do. Here's the thing about Wink, versus, and a lot, I'm going to say like Don Brown, when Don Brown was the coach at Michigan, is that Wink finds a way to win ugly, right? You know, we give up some stupid plays for sure. Like you said, we get off the slow starts, but they find a way to make some big plays during the course of the game. And it's a timely blitz here. It's a tip pass there. It's it's the play that Jordan Young made against Northwestern when he tipped that pass away. You know, it was the Zeke Berry play this week. Those kinds of things to get them off the field. Um, my biggest concern really with Michigan is I agree with Dane, is the safety play. They seem to give up a lot of big chunk plays down the middle on balls that should not be completed because there's way too much air under some of these balls. We even saw it this week when they were through the outside and Hill just was covering his receiver. The ball was an underthrow. Hill had no idea where the ball was, and it ends up being a big
he
play
totally missed
for
that.
them, which was really a crappy play. I mean, lucky if you want to even say it that way. And Hillman is good at times. Mangum, he got a high grade this week from PFF. I have no idea how they're grading those guys because I thought he was terrible. And I
didn't hear about him
well,
at all
and he was every time you heard about him, it was bad. So I don't know how a guy gets a 90-something grade without getting a pick six or something. I don't get it. And here's the other thing too: is this week we got to figure out is Ernie Hausman with us or not? Is he with us or was he God? Because I know he was out this week for that religious or whatever it was, and
it
reminded me of the movie Hoosiers, where the guy kneels down to pray before every game, and the game starts, he's still in the locker room praying, all I'm saying is that I want to know if Ernie Hausman's locked into Ohio State or not, because this is a big game for the fan base, big game for the team.
Yeah,
we need him at 100% mental, and I just hope that he shows up this week. That's my thoughts on D.
Well, let's talk about special teams and the Jekyll and Hyde act that is Dominic Zaveda. Missed another field goal. How concerning is this heading into this game? Because it might come down to him again.
Zavada is what I say, Bob. Right? That is, here's the thing: is that he missed a short field goal and he came back later and he made a long one. I just think sometimes, and the misses that he have are not. He's not shanking them or overhooking them. He's just barely missing, and it's usually like that little fade. Yep. Looks like one of Dane's tee shots when they go into the woods. There, starts off down the middle and just kind of fades off to the right.
But I always find my ball.
Right? Yeah, I didn't know you played that brand, Dane. Yeah, right.
That's where we go. There we go. Oh, nice job.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dane.
I was playing a Callaway.
Titleist.
Titleist.
Yeah, okay. But Dom is going to be everything in this game. I mean, we know that field goals are going to play a huge role
last year
this week. We don't need for him to be good for the season. We need him to be good for one game. And I have confidence that, and not just Dom, but special teams in general. They've been terrible all year. We need our special teams unit to be locked in this week.
The weather is going to be a little dicey. They're calling from a snow and wintry mix in Ann Arbor. So,
2021, baby.
The colder and snowier, the better, right?
The better.
So, fellas, you know what? We joke about it all the time when we say two teams get together. Well, you can throw out the records in this one when these two teams meet. But in this case, it's true. So, Ohio State, it appears, right? They are much better on defense this year. We've heard that before. Michigan has no chance in this game. We've heard that before. They have the most dynamic offense in the country, of course. We've heard that before. But let's start with Ohio State's offense against the Michigan defense. Like I said, you can throw all that out the window. Will this be a pass-happy affair, or will the Buckeyes try to establish the run that they've been unsuccessful with the last 4 years? And I think Dane said it even before we started. They try and play our game. So let's see what happens. Dane, why don't you start us off with that? How do you see them trying to play against us?
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a moment, but I know you guys have missed my poetry. So I thought for this game, I would I'd come up with another poem. And actually it's an ode. It's an ode to Ohio. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, Ohio, you crazy nuts. Your colors of scarlet and gray remind us of orangutan butts. You wait all year for the game, crossing off M's along the way. Oh, your traditions are so lame. You wait with anticipation to see what your coach will wear and to see what shade of black was applied to his beard and hair. You whined when we planted our flag when you thought the game was in the bag. But oh, how you were so wrong, like you were the last 4 times when you thought you were so strong. So hail to the men in blue and all their might. Nothing will be so true and right than sending you home from the big house with you barely alive, licking your wounds at oh and
Oh my
bye.
God, you're spending
How's
too much
that?
time with David Portnoy.
Hey, though, there is some tragic news. I don't know if you heard about it. There was a fire at the Ohio State grad library last night, and it was a total loss. It's just horrible. Both books were burned. They were destroyed, and we heard that one was not even colored in yet. So,
Oh,
Hi,
he is living up
ladies
to
and
his
gentlemen,
title.
he'll be here all week. Please tip your servers. There is a 2-drink minimum.
that's right,
Blue Dane
baby.
Williams,
Oh my
ladies and
God.
gentlemen.
Did you leave any room for?
Okay, so
Oh
what
yeah,
are we
you were
talking
supposed
about?
to be talking about how Ohio State and yeah, right, okay.
Oh yeah,
The passing game.
how are they going to attack this game? Well, I'll tell you how
Yeah.
they're going to attack this game. I think, unless Ryan Day, Crying Ryan, gets the burr up his butt again, he wants to challenge us on the ground. I do see them pass happy, and I see it 65-35 or 70-30. Pass to rush. They have to look at our pass defense and say, okay, we're going to win this game. We're not going to, do what we did last year and try to go after the rushing game. We're going to win this game through the air, and they're going to do it. So I see a lot of pass from saying, because they know we can stop the run, right? I mean, our run defense is really good. So I see a lot of, pass action, maybe, some fakes to the running back, and then I see just a lot of pass happy Ohio State coming into this game. They know
Okay.
that we are pass D and that we sometimes over pursue, which would lead to some screens possibly, tight end screens, running back screens, whatever. So I think that's what they're planning. I don't see them planning to go after us in the rush. What do you think, John?
Well, I think you and Bob both alluded to the fact that Ryan Day tried to run the football last year and it didn't work out. But I don't think he's going to give up completely. I think Ohio State, if they
No,
watch
not
our
completely.
film, they see that the place that we're vulnerable in the running game is off the edges, right off out there inside of the defensive end, where the defensive end is charging upfield, and our linebackers don't seem to be able to come over and cover that off. I expect to see a lot of that when they do run the football this week. And Michigan's pass weaknesses really are the deep center of the field and the flats, and I think we're going to see a lot of throws to those two areas. The pass rush may well determine how Michigan fares in this game. It hasn't been a real great pass rush first year, not like what we're accustomed to, but if we can put some pressure, especially if there's like you say, if we could get some weather, some wind, some snow, maybe, even just a cold rain, that would help Michigan, because then they're not going to be able just to fling the thing down the field. We want to keep them in the short passing game,
Right.
so that we can play a ball control kind of game. I think that's going to be real important. I think the weather is going to be hugely important, and we know how Ohio State likes to bitch about the reasons they lose. This will give them just one more excuse.
It's always an
Yeah.
excuse.
Well, yeah, last year there was 0 passing game for Michigan, and we still won in Columbus. So now this year, I think, and you'll agree, that they're a much more balanced team. So last season, they stressed stopping the run. So now how are the Buckeyes this year going to try and stop Michigan?
No, they're
Junko,
going
why
to
don't you
do
take that
everything they've
first?
always done. They're going to bring back the Knowles defense for this. They're going to bring those safeties up, and they're going to come after Bryce, right? I mean, they're going to say, look, he's a freshman
Yeah,
quarterback. If we're not going to give him time to throw. We're going to try to stuff the game and hit the quarterback. That's going to be their game, 100%. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You know, I think their whole game centers around controlling the line of scrimmage. The question is, can they do it? Now, I don't think they can control the line
uh-huh.
of scrimmage when we're on offense and they're on defense. Not at least not from a running perspective, but their pass rush is going to be formidable. And so the question is, what's Chip Lindsey going to do to be able to get that ball out quickly and get guys open? What is he going to scheme, to confront when Ohio State comes to that 8 or 9 or 10 guy front, and they're in zero coverage back there? How's he going to make them pay for those? Is it going to be quick slants? Is it going to be slip screens? You know, is it going to be the RPO game where he fakes the handoff
Right.
and throws that quick slant? I mean, what are they going to do to combat Ohio State standing at the line of scrimmage? That's going to determine how successful Michigan is on offense.
And
What
what
do you
I
think,
would like
Dane?
to see are zero tunnel screens. We have not done well blocking on tunnel screens, and we get blown up. And Ohio State will blow us up on tunnel screens. But I think Ohio's going to try to pressure Bryce. So, like you said, he's got to get the ball out, and there's got to be play calling where he gets the ball out early, right? They're going to load the box to try to stop the run because they know that's our strength, right? And they're going to force Bryce to pass. Okay, Bryce, you want to win this game? You're going to have to win it with your arm. So I think that's kind of where Ohio's going to be for us. I think the offensive line has to play lights out, and we need to have a perfect game out of Bryce, and we got to find those holes. And I don't care if we have the explosive runs of 50, 60 yards, get first downs, run time
Hmm.
off the clock, keep
Right.
Ohio off the field. That's what we need to do to win this game.
Well, it's that also leads me into the keys to the game, and we may have already touched on this, but Dane, why don't you start us off? Give us 3 key things for each team to do in order for them to win. So we'll start with Michigan. What do they need to do?
So it's interesting. I looked at weather forecast. I might slip this into one of the keys for the game. Well, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like um 30, what do we got here? 31 degrees, right? Snow, 80%
Hmm.
chance of snow, accumulating up to 1 inch in the afternoon. So here we go. Like I said, 2021 all over again. I don't know if there was that much snow, but it was a cool game, which may force Ohio to abandon their running game or their passing game slightly
Passing game.
because
Yeah.
of the bad conditions, which just, works to our favor. I say for uh, I say for Ohio to win this, their passing game. They've got a strong passing game. I think both Tate and I can't think of his name. The
Harrison,
other receiver for
or not
Ohio.
Harrison?
That was no, that was out
Oh,
last.
yeah, I forget.
He was out last week. Their sophomore
Smith,
who's
is
so
it Smith? I
so
forget
good.
his name. The big guy. Yeah,
Yeah, Smith. That's
yeah.
it. Yeah, Smith. Yeah, Smith and Tate. They're back. Um, you know, look out. We're gonna have to really come up with some good coverage schemes there. I think they're going to pressure Bryce. I think they're going to, come at him with a number of blitzes, try to, shake him early in the game, rattle him.
Yeah.
Because Bryce plays well when he's confident, and if he loses his confidence, it could be a rough afternoon. I think that's what they'll try to do, and then they're going to load the box to stop the run. There's no doubt about that. So, like Junko said, we got to get rid of that ball early. Michigan established the running game. No mistakes, please. Even against Maryland, the defense was offsides twice, just silly penalties there. We can't be doing that with Ohio. You can't make any mistakes, turnovers, penalties, whatever. Yeah, there's probably going to be penalties, but it's got to be minimized, right? And then the D, somehow, Sayan's not a great running quarterback. So we've got to get some pressure on Sayan and rattle him. And then just like we did last year with quarterback last year. What was his name? No, I'm trying to
It
remember.
doesn't matter because he lost.
We're old.
He lost. That's right. Anyway, yeah, we rattled him, and he did not play well. So there you
Yeah.
go. That's my
JV?
key. 3 keys.
Yeah, for Michigan,
both
I think the
teams.
3 keys are, one, they've got to control the clock, shorten the game. And they've run for 200 yards, for 5 consecutive games. They need to make that 6 consecutive games. The second thing that Michigan needs to do is they got to make Ohio State kick field goals, not score touchdowns. They got to be good in the red zone. And the third thing is that Bryce needs to be our $5 million quarterback, right? He's got to be something like, 17 for 23 for 200 and no interception, something like that. Something where he's very efficient. Doesn't have to be spectacular. Doesn't have to win the game, but he's got to be solid. For Ohio State, they've got to be physical on both sides of the ball. They got to be able to match Michigan's physicality in the trenches. If they can't, then it's going to be the last 4 years all over again. They need to hold Michigan under 150 yards rushing, I think, to win. If they don't, Michigan's going to be in the game. The longer this game goes on, the more momentum Michigan and this crowd is going to get. And the other thing that Ohio has to do, as I mentioned, for Michigan to stop Ohio, for Ohio to win, they've got to be efficient in the red zone. They've got to score. They missed field goals last year when they were in the red zone. They had a couple of interceptions down there. The Makari Page interception late in the game. They have to be efficient. So, for me, that's the 3 teams each. That's the 3 things that each team needs to do to win.
Yeah. Cool.
So I just I'll bring up a stat again.
As long as it's not a poem, yeah.
I'll try to make it a poem. How's that? No, the team that has won the rushing battle the last 23 consecutive times in a row since 2001, the team that's won the rushing battle has won the game. So will it continue? Hopefully, because I think that's where we're gonna win the game. Is in the rushing game.
For all that we've said about the passing game, that stat is really telling as far as
Bob, just to
goes.
kind of touch on that. So, 200 yards, 5 games in a row. Again, if you can get to that 200-yard mark, I'd really like their chances.
Yeah. All right. So now, before we do any actual predictions and scores, which of course should be very entertaining, especially Dane's, let's do some individual stat predictions. So what I'll do is I'll throw out names of players, the stars that we've got to count on, and you guys give me what you think their stats are going to be. So we'll just do this in rapid fire fashion. So Bryce Underwood's passing and running yards.
17
Junko, you
for
go
24
first.
for 190 yards, 55 yards rushing is what I put down. I thought that's what Bryce would get.
Okay. All right. What was the passing yards again?
17 for 24, 190 yards.
Okay. All right. Blue?
I got Bryce with 20 completions for 220 yards, which is around his average, and run for 3 times for 35 yards.
Okay. All right. Jordan Marshall, rushing yards.
I wrote down Brian Marshall in our outline. My mind that just shows up.
Right?
My mind is still in 1977, right?
I wonder if
Brian, are you watching? Your name is on our outline, brother. Brian Marshall.
I
got Jordan Marshall rushing for 125 yards in the game. And 125.
Ooh, okay. All right, Dane.
Well, unfortunately, I think the shoulder's not totally healed. I think he'll be in the game. I think it's going to be, I don't know. I think he'll be in the game for 10 rushes for 50 yards. Unfortunately, I see him coming out of the game. I see Kudsdahl coming back in, 20 rushes for 150 yards and a TD. So that's what I see there.
Yeah. So how many yards for Kudsdahl?
150
How many yards
yards.
Kudsdahl? 150 yards. Okay, so that's
20 rushes.
the 200 yards.
That's
Junko,
the 200 yards
did-
total. Yep.
what did you have for
I
Kuzdal
got
rushing
Kuzdal
yards?
at 45 yards rushing. So I've got 125 for Marshall, 45 for Kuzdal for 170 yards total rushing.
Oh, you
I
see,
hope
I know.
Marshall's in
Like I
for
said,
the whole game.
I think these stats are a microcosm of the game. I think if you were to break this game down and say, how does each team win, it would come down to the stats probably on these players. And so I've got Michigan
Yeah.
at
Okay.
so I got Michigan is 170 yards rushing. If they get if both those guys
Right.
exceed those numbers, Ohio State's in big trouble.
Okay, Andrew Marsh, Junko, give me his catches, receiving yards, and does he get a TD?
So everybody in the stadium knows Michigan, when they throw the ball, they got to want to throw it to Bryce, right, or to Andrew. And I got him catching 6 passes for 85 yards, no touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
All right.
There's the guy that they're going to be keying on in the passing game is Andrew Marsh. So
what are Andrew Marsh's stats in your mind, Blue?
I think he's getting 8 catches. They're going to have to go to him quite often. I've got him at 130 yards, over 100 yards.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit longer.
Yep, 130 yards. I think he's going to have a good game against them.
Okay. Dom Zavada. How many attempts? How many field goal attempts? How many does he make, and what is his longest? Junko.
I think he goes 3 for 3 in the game. I think he's going to make all of his field goal attempts in this game. I think he's going to come up big. And I think as long as 48 yards. Now, again, I don't know what the weather is, so 48 might be optimistic. But I'm going 3 for 3 with a long of 48.
Okay. Dane?
I got, it's interesting. I got 3 for 3 again. I think he does come back in Ohio here, gets his head together. 3 for 3, long 42. So we're pretty close.
Okay. I like that. I do like that. All right, let's throw a Buckeye in there. Julian Sayin, what do you think his passing yards and completion rate would be?
Yeah, I've got him at 25
Junko.
for 31 for 296, but 1 interception. Oh, they're going to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, in your mind.
You got one INT in there. Oh, good. I like that. I'm looking at 30 for 35, 300 yards. So pretty close to Junko.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me again about the yards. How many yards?
300. I think he's gonna pass. I mean, he's gonna pass a lot. No doubt about it.
Yeah. According to you guys, yes.
Right. According to us, must be.
But I think
so. Okay. So now, how many sacks will our defense get?
They better get 3.
Junko?
They better get at least 3.
Okay. All right.
With that many attempts, I think that we need to get to the quarterback. The question is, can we do it? We're going to find out a lot about those defensive ends, just not now, but in the future too. And I'm very excited to see who's going to be the defensive ends in rushing downs. Are they going to go with Marshall and Nichols like they have lately? Because those guys seem to be a little more effective. I know Moore will be in there, but they seem to be playing Cameron Brandt more on the run plays, and then putting other guys on when it comes to in obvious passing downs. I think they need to get to the quarterback 3 times, Bob.
Okay. Dane, how many times?
Yeah, I think I'll see your 3 and up you 1. So I got 4 sacks. And I did think of the quarterback from last year for Ohio.
Will Howard. That was it. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Very
who
good.
knows where he's at.
So here we are. Finally, we're here. Ohio State is an 11.5-point favorite. And of course, we talked all about the weather, and it's going to be at the Big House. So, Junko, I want you to give me your prediction first, and then we'll go to Blue Dane because, it's
I agree with you. I totally agree there. I've got OSU winning on the last drive of the game. I think they're going to, I think there's just too much there. Last year, I was in the same place. I just didn't think Michigan had a chance, and somehow, some way they pulled it out. And I would love it if they would do the same this year. But I've got Ohio State winning 27-24 with a field goal as a walk-off field goal situation.
Okay, and I've got the same thing. I thought I was going to be the lone man here, but I got Ohio State 21, Wolverines 17. So they'll beat the spread, but not win the game. All right, Mr. Blue Dane, tell me something good.
Did you guys not learn anything from last
No.
year? I mean, really, you didn't learn anything from
I
last year.
learned that you're a hell of a poet.
Did you see how weak our offense was last year? And we still beat them? Did you see how we beat Northwestern last year, like 56-6? And this year, right before the game, we beat Maryland 45 to, whatever the hell they had.
20.
So
Yep.
we're coming on, baby. We're coming on just like we were coming on last year. And this one's at home. It's at home. 31 degrees, snow, a full inch of snow, baby. I got Michigan 24-21 over those stinking Suckeyes. There you go.
Wow, it's going to be exciting, and I hope you're right. I really do. I mean, it will be
you said
fantastic.
That last year, and I was.
And you were. Oh, by the way, listening to the weather forecast for Ann Arbor on Saturday, do you guys miss any of that at all?
What?
Weather.
Oh, did we miss the weather? No.
Oh,
no,
miss it.
no.
Oh, no.
I'll be watching it outdoor on my patio this weekend. Yeah. So no.
Actually, I'm going to be just north of Blue Ridge, Georgia. I got a cabin up there, and the kids are coming up to see us for Thanksgiving. So it will be about.
It'll be a little chilly.
It'll be in the 50s. It'll be a little chilly out there. Corbin and I watching the game. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. A good time. All right, so let's talk CFB. Right now, been hearing it that even if Michigan wins on Saturday, they don't control their own destiny. They're going to need some help. Maybe a loss from one of the following teams like Oregon, Notre Dame, Alabama, Oklahoma, or Ole Miss. That's a lot of teams. Junko, your thoughts,
if they
please.
win, they're in. I don't think there'll be a team in the country with a better win than Michigan, especially a two-loss team. And their two losses will be against ranked opponents on the road. I don't think there's any way the CFB committee can keep Michigan out if they win the game.
Okay. Dane, you think that
they
win, they're in?
That. And, actually, if Washington can pull the upset on Oregon and Michigan wins, Michigan's probably in the Big Ten title game. So, in fact, they would be in the Big Ten title game. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot for the playoffs, but you're right. If Michigan beats number 1 Ohio, that is a huge win. And I just don't see how they're left out of the playoffs at that point.
That's cool.
The other games, I don't see Stanford beating Notre Dame. I don't see Auburn beating Alabama. LSU is in a tailspin. They're not going to beat Oklahoma. And Mississippi State is not going to beat
not a
Ole
chance.
Miss. So,
all right, real quick, do you think Purdue stands a chance against Indiana? No, huh? Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so hey, wake the neighbor, call your kids. It's time. Mr. Williams, take it away. Give us some trivia.
Okay. I don't have it queued up.
Thank God.
Anyway, I'll just go straight to the trivia.
We lose our rating over that. Yeah,
but my
PG
lovely
rating.
Yeah, my lovely wife. But see, that's because our podcast isn't where it's supposed to be yet. But hey, so this is going to be a short little trivia question, but in honor of the Ohio's Michigan game, which Ohio's coach said losing to Michigan is one of the worst things that's happened to me? Was it 1, Crying Ryan Day, who's 1-4 against us? John Cooper, who's 2-10-1, or John Wilson, and he was back in the 20s. He lost 6 consecutive games, the Wolverines, from 1922 to 1927. Which coach?
I'm going to say Cooper.
Give me the choices one more time.
Crying Ryan, John Cooper, or John Wilson?
Well, I never heard of John Wilkes, so I'm going to say him because he must be in there for a reason.
Yeah, right.
It actually was Crying Ryan.
You threw me a
Crying
curveball.
Ryan said, losing to Michigan is one of the worst things that happened to me.
Wow.
And that was especially after that last loss.
Before you said that, before you gave us our choice, I was going to say Earl Bruce, because didn't Earl Bruce have a losing streak?
He had a rough time too, but Cooper was the worst. But I don't think he ever said that. But yeah, Crying Ryan,
very cool. Well, thanks. It'll be fun. We'll have a lot to talk about next week, right? Thank you for listening. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have a note in there.
Are you not going to ask about Michigan hockey?
All right, here we go.
I was figuring after your poem, we might have been done with your other superfluous contributions.
Okay, real quick.
But tell me about Michigan hockey.
This is important because last weekend we played Ohio, right?
Yeah.
So we beat them 5-2 on Friday night, 8-1 on Saturday night. Oh, and you always ask me about MSU. Where's the love for MSU? I got some love for MSU.
Tell me about MSU.
Last weekend, they lost to Wisconsin 5-4 on Friday, and they lost to Wisconsin 2-1 in overtime on Saturday. That dropped them to number 3 in the nation.
Oh, man, really?
Wisconsin moved from number 7 to number 2 in the nation. Guess who's number 1?
The Michigan Wolverines.
Michigan.
Woo, baby! So Michigan is now number 1 in the nation. They're playing Harvard this Friday and Saturday at Harvard.
All this tells me is that we need to have more pre-show meetings. That's all. I got to know what's coming up here before you do all this.
Hey, the last few shows you said, hey, how about hockey? And this one
I did not. I know, but we're. You got my timetable is so off today. We're recording at a much earlier time.
Yeah.
So once again, I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Thank you. And if you like the podcast, smack that like button on whatever site you're listening to. For the best viewing experience, you can check us out on YouTube. Just put in the Lowdown on Motown Sports in the search bar, and we'll be right there. You'll get notified when we release new episodes if you subscribe. This podcast is part of Junko Productions and an exclusive production of the Lowdown on Motown Sports Network. Thank you, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next Lowdown on Motown Sports. Love you guys.
Go Blue. Go Blue.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Lowdown on Motown Sports podcast. If you're liking what you're hearing, then why don't you do us a solid and rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show. And, we're pretty awesome, so why not share the awesomeness? We appreciate it. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Lowdown on Motown Sports podcast.